This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, today we're going to discuss about encapsulation in Python. The encapsulation is one of the fundamental concept in object-oriented programming language. Okay, this encapsulation it's going to include the inheritance, polymorphism, as well as abstraction. Till now I didn't take abstraction, but this encapsulation is going to include all the things. What is going to include? It's going to include the inheritance, polymorphism, method overloading and method overriding, and then abstraction. Okay, if this encapsulation includes all these three OOPS concepts. Now I'm going to discuss about encapsulation. Encapsulation is nothing but yeah, encapsulation is nothing but I'm going to just take on capsule. Look at the diagram. In that capsule, this capsule is called a class. The center capsule is class. Inside the capsule, we have methods and variables. If you take normal, if you take any real application, if you have some fever, you will go to doctor. Doctor will give some prescription. Based on prescription, you will go to some pharma, and then the pharma will give the tablet for you. In the tablet, there will be a capsule will be there. In that capsule, some powder will be grinded, and then outer layer will be a wrapper. Okay, it's called capsule. The same thing here, this capsule is a class. Inside the class, we have methods and variables. What they're trying to say is this encapsulates nothing but wrapping the data and methods, wrapping the data and the methods, and going to work as a single unit. That single unit is called class. Single unit is called class. If anyone asks about what is encapsulation, you have to say encapsulation nothing but wrapping the data and methods, and then that going to work on data with only one unit. That one unit is nothing but a class. As well as after creating the after wrapping the data and methods, you're going to work on a single unit. In that single unit, you can able to give some restrictions. If someone trying to access your variables or method, you can put restriction. You can put some restriction. Outside class members cannot be able to access your variables or methods. That kind of restriction you can set in your encapsulation. For example, I have one class. The class name is bike. I have a bike price, as well as bikes spare parts methods. Spare parts means like gear, how the gear, how the gear will work, and then I know all the functionalities. I mentioned everything in the class. I should not expose my internal details to somebody. I should not expose my internal details, how my brake will work, how my clutch will work. I should not, because I am the manufacturer of the bike. I should not expose my internal details to any of the users. I'm asking a question to you. You are buying one bike. Whether you know all the internal details of the bike, you know how to drive, but you don't know how it's functioning, how the accelerator is working, and then how the engine is working. Whether you know the internal details, you don't know the internal details. What the manufacturer will do, they'll hide the implementation details, and then they hide all the implementation details using the encapsulation. They're giving some restriction to the variables and methods. Outside class members cannot be able to access your variables as well as functions. For example, you have one class manufacturer. You have one class manufacturer, bike manufacturer. Okay, bike manufacturer. In that I am having some implementation. Okay, like engine implementation, and then I'm going to have something like disk implementation. Okay, if someone is creating object for this class, if someone is creating object for this class, I should not expose any of my internal details to the users. And you have to say, if I'm creating object, bike manufacturer, you will call using instance, right? Object underscore one dot engine. But in encapsulation, you are wrapping both data and methods. If someone is creating object for your class, you should not expose your internal functionality. If you're trying to expose your internal functionality, what will happen? Everyone will started creating bikes, right? Everyone started creating bikes. Everyone started creating some disk. This should not happen in encapsulation. This kind of restriction you have to set. What kind of restriction? You want to make this method as private method as well as variables also private. Private means only the particular class can be able to access variables and methods. Outside class members cannot be able to access your methods as well as variables. That is leads to your encapsulation. 1 minute.
This conference will now be recorded.
Now, 1 minute. Yeah. See, encapsulation. I already said to you, going to wrap the data and methods that going to work on a data with single unit. Single unit means not single capsule, right? We're going to work on single unit. As well as you're going to put some restriction. What restriction in the sense? I have some classes, bike manufacturer. In the bike manufacturer, I have some variable, okay, like a equal to, and then I have some methods, engine as well disk. I should not expose, I should not provide access to this engine method, because if I provide access, other members outside of class, some other class can able to create object for my class and then it can able to access my methods. You should put some restriction on your methods. What method you have to expose to the outer world and what variables you have to expose to the outer world, you have to specify some restriction. Okay, those for example, if you provide public access, outside class members can able to access your variables and methods. If you provide that the variable name is private, variable is private, only the particular class can be able to access your variable. The outside class members cannot able to access your variable as well as function. And then third thing is protected. Protected means same class members can able to access variables, outside of class members can able to access variables. The outside class members should have a inheritance relationship, then only they can able to access variables as well as functions. Okay, these are things we're going to discuss now. Now if you ask you to you, you have to say like it's like a wrap, or like it's going to wrap both data and methods and it's going to work in a single unit, and then you're going to put some restrictions on variables and methods, and then you can prevent the accident modification of data. What they're trying to say, if you take a bank, there will be cashier will be there and manager will be there. Manager has having some access, okay, to transfer the funds, and the cashiers will not have that much access when compared to the manager. And then if the manager or whatever acts he has, it contains called classes manager. And then if the manager is having some set of limitations for the variables and method, he should not expose to the other class members. If you try to, if someone try to access the manager class methods or variables, they cannot able to access, because manager class has having some put some restriction. Restriction means I already said public, private and protected. If it is private method, you can't be able to access other classes. Okay, these kind of restriction will be set in the encapsulation. Okay, and then take some real-time examples or encapsulation. In a company, there are different sessions will be there, like account session, finance session and sales session. The finance session handles all the financial transactions and keeps of all the data related to finance. As well as sales session will be there. Sales session, what will happen? They will keep all the activities and the keep records of all the sales. Okay. Now, question is, if finance department want all the details of the sales, finance department, they need all the details about the sales department. Okay, at the time what will happen, the sales department, they have to put some restriction to their variables, what method they have to expose to the outer world and what variables they have to expose to the outer world. They have to put some restriction by using private, protected as well as public. If it is public, they can able to access outside of the classes. If it is private, they can access able to access only in the same classes. Outside of class, we cannot able to access. Protected means we can able to access the outer classes, but that class should have a inheritance relationship. Out of 5 types of inheritance relationship, you should satisfy any one of the inheritance relationship. It can be single inheritance or multiple inheritance or multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance or hybrid inheritance. Okay, now that's what I'm saying here is totally have 3 departments. One is account session and finance session, and another third sales session. And then finance session is keeping all the financial transactions, and sales session is keeping all the sales happened on the particular day. And then if finance session is need the details of the sales session. Okay, now they are arising situation and due to some reasons, official from the finance session needs all the data of sales in particular month. In the case, he is not allowed to directly access the data of sales session. Now, you first have to contact some other officer, and then you have to contact the sales officer. The sales officer have to give some permission to that functions as well as variables. Then only the finance session can able to access the sales session data. This is how it will work. Not only for the company, we take bank, everyone is having some restrictions. Manager having some access, and then cashier will have some access, and then clerk will have some access. Okay, if they are trying to access your function, first they have to contact some officers, and then the officers have to give the access. Then only you can able to access the other session of data. This is how encapsulation will work. Now I'm going to show the implementation. Okay, how to use how to hide the data, how to hide the functions in using encapsulation. Open the Python community edition. I hope you understood. San, can you give some real-time example for encapsulation? Real-time example for encapsulation. In the meantime, I will create your Py file. I'm asking you, can you provide the real-time example for encapsulation?
Yeah.
New, and then
School.
directory.
You can take example of school teachers
Okay,
as an access.
what are the class available for the school?
Teachers as an access and administration as an access.
Yeah,
Students
same
as
thing.
repeated access.
Yeah, like that. You can provide access for the principal and CEO. Okay, and then everyone having some kind of access. You can able to hide your data. You can able to hide your data as well as you can add it functionality. If someone requesting you to provide the functionality, then you can provide access to them. Intentionally, you should not provide any access to the other class members. Okay, encapsulation. Now, the first simple example I'm going to mention. Now, what I'm going to do first, I'm going to bundling the data. I'm going to bundling the data methods. I'm going to hide. Bundling means I'm going to hide the data methods. Uh, Not hide. I can say I'm going to combine. Bundling means I'm going to combine the data and methods in a single unit. After that, I'm going to provide the restrictions, which method I want to provide access to the which method I want to provide access, which variable I have to provide access. I'll do it later. Now I'm going to provide the bundling of data and methods within a single unit. Okay, can make bundling of data and methods. Bundling of data and method means combining the data and methods. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create employee. The class I can give like employee, and then the employee will have some constructor. Constructor, just give a comment constructor, and then oh, it's getting error. Okay, constructor, And then constructor, I want to introduce constructor def init, and then I'm going to pass name and salary. Okay, name and salary as an argument. Name and salary, and then data members, self dot, sorry, 1 minute, data members, self dot name equal to name, and then salary and project. We can mention like this: name, salary, and project. Self dot name, and another one variable is self dot salary equal to salary, and then self dot project equal to project. Now these are the numbers, and then I'm going to write some methods. I'm going to display the employee details. Going to display the employee details. Okay. Now I'm going to use one show method to display the details. Now self is nothing but instance, current class instance. Now I'm going to access the public data members. Public data members. Now you have to listen carefully here. If you are using self dot name, then you can say it's a public data members. You can access inside the class as well as outside the class also you can able to access. Okay, now I'm going to discuss about three kind of variables. Okay, what are three variables? Public variables, private variables, and then protected variables. Protected variables. Okay, now I'm going to discuss, and then I'm going to access the public data member. These are called the public data members. Okay, like I can access inside the class, outside the class. I also can able to access name, salary, and project. Now I'm going to use a print statement. Do one thing, use tab print, and then you can use name, and then you can use self dot name. See, I already said to you, I can use in the same class, outside of class also can able to access. Okay, self dot name, and then what I'm trying to do is salary. Salary I'm going to do salary, and then comma self dot salary. Now I'm going to write one more method. Okay, I can keep like method define work. Name is work, and then I'm going to print self dot name. What kind of variable it is? It's a public variables. Public variables is working on what project? Self dot project. Okay, what are the name you're providing, right? Is working on the project. Now you're going to call the method. How to call the method? You have only one classes. How to call the method? I want to call the show method and work method. How to call a method?
Yeah, instance equal to
You want to create an instance, right? You want to create some instance. I'm going to create the instance as employee emp equal to, and then employee,
constant.
and then constructor. It's not a class, constructor. It's going to call your init. You have to provide a name, salary, and project. You have to provide. I'm going to provide your name and then I want to provide like name provided salary. I'm going to provide 8,000. 8,000. I'm going to provide the name. Project name is somewhat NLP. Okay, natural language processing. Okay, project name is NLP. Make it mute, and then I'm going to call the public methods. Okay, now we're going to discuss about what is a public variable, what is private variable, as well as protected variables, as well as public method, as well as private method. I'm going to discuss. Okay, I'm going to call the public method. Calling public method of the class. Now, which are public methods? Show and what is called the public methods. Okay, employee dot work. Okay, and then employee dot show.
Sure.
Employee dot show. No need of print statement. Already print statement is there. No need to use print statement. If you run the script, is it's printing list and is working on NLP, and then it's printing. Okay, name is San and salary is going to be 8,000. Okay, now if anyone say class, if anyone say it's a class in a class, encapsulation is involved. Encapsulation is involved. If you take any class, you have some data members and methods, right? Then you can say that class is encapsulated. Encapsulated. The class is encapsulated. If you take any class, definitely you have data members as well as methods. Then that class is called encapsulated. Now, using encapsulation, I'm going to show how to hide a object internal representation from the outside. This is called information hiding. You're going to hide the information to the other users. You're going to hide the object internal representation from the outside. This is called information hiding. Now, I'm going to create one more class. I'm going to make it name as information hiding using encapsulation. Using encapsulation. Encapsulation. The py file. Now, using encapsulation, you can restrict the accessing variables and methods directly and prevent accidental data modification by creating the private data members and methods within a class. For example, if someone should not access my variables or methods, I should use the private data members. But in Java, we have act specifier. We have a separate act specifier like public, private, protected. We have act specifier. But Python, we don't have here any kind of act specifier like public, private, protected. In Python, we don't have any act specifier like public, private, protected. But in Java, if you take C++, we have the act specifier as public, private, protected. But you can able to specify variables and functions by using some symbols as a private, public as well as protected variables. Okay, now using encapsulation, you can deal the sensitive data. Sensitive data means, for example, your manager is having some username password. You should not expose the username password to some other class. It can able to handle the sensitive informations, and then as well as the manager can provide access to the variables and use with the class. It's a good choice. If someone is seeking your methods, your manager has to provide the access for them. That's a good choice actually. Okay, without knowing the manager, someone should not access their manager methods or variables. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to specify the access specifiers using access specifiers. How to provide the restriction to some other classes. Now I'm going to show one by one. First I'm going to talk about the public member. What is public member? This public member means we can able to access inside the class, outside the class.
Outside also.
Private member means you can able to access only the same class. Outside class members cannot able to access your variables or functions. Third one is protected member. Protected member means you can able to access the same class. Outside of class can also can able to access, but the outside class should have a inheritance relationship. Okay, protected members able to access the same class. Outside class also okay able to access. The outside class should be have a inheritance relationship with the parent class. Then only they can able to access variables as well as functions. Now I going to show what is a public member. Okay, I already shown who is a public member. These are the public members. Name, this variable name, right? Name, self dot name is instance name, and then salary. This is called the public members. And then you know how to access your public methods by calling like getting instance, and then if you work and show, you can able to access. Now what are you going to do? Next thing I'm going to show about the private member. We can protect the variables in the class by making them as private. I already said to you, Java and C++, you have a act specifier, private act specifier, you have one keyword will be there, public, private product will be there. But Python, we don't have that kind of act specifiers. But we can use some underscores. You can use underscores to inform to the interpreter this is a private variable, this is a public variable. You can use by putting some underscores, you can define to the interpreter. Now, what I'm going to do to define a private variable, you have to add the two underscores in the prefix. Two underscores in the prefix. If you use two underscores in the variable name, then we can say that member is a private member. And then private member can be accessed only within the class. And we can't access them directly from the class objects. So if someone is creating an object for your class, they can't able to access your variables because you have declared the variable member as private. Now we're going to show how to declare the private. I'm going to copy the same code and then Control V. Now, if I want to make the member as private member, what I have to do? You have to say, if I want to make the salary variable as private member, what I have to do?
You double underscore.
Double underscore you have to do. That's it. That's it. Now, what member it is? Private member. Now, self dot name is private or public?
Private.
I'm asking self dot name is public or private?
Name
Self
is,
dot name. Name is public. Public. And then double underscore means it's a private variable. Now, what I'm going to do, see here. I'm going to do one thing. Okay, I will do one thing. I will use one more print statement here. Okay, and then I want to ask me salary. Salary one private, right? I want to ask me salary. How will ask salary? Comma self dot. Wait, hold on, not self. Oh, sorry. Employee dot. I have name and project. What about salary? You have to say. I can able to get the name. If I run the script, I am going to print my name. Wait. Employer object as no employer object as hold a minute. Make it mute. Employee object has no salary. Hold a minute. Why is it getting like this? Employee name salary. Okay. It's showing name employee dot. It's showing name as project. What about salary? Salary is private. You can't able to access it. So if someone is creating object for your class, we see someone is creating object for your class, they can't able to access your variables because it is private. Okay, I can make a comment. Accessing odd number. private data members. Okay, you can't able to access your private data members. Okay, see here, I can put dot underscore underscore salary. It's not showing anything. You can't able to access, but you can able to access your name and project. You can able to access. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. This is called the private data number. And then emp dot. It's not populating. Don't think like that. It's not populating. You can I can show here. It's not populating. For understanding, I did like this. If I putting dot, it's showing the name project, but it's not showing anything. It's showing the two functions as well. What it show, because what it show is public function. Public function. If you want to make this function as private function, what do you have to do? If you want to make this function as private function, what you have to do? Two underscores you have to place. That's it. Two underscores you want to place. If you keep like this, see, it's not showing show, because work is show is private function. I can say it's private method. Okay, you can able to call the work method, but you can't able to call the show method because it's a private. This is how you have to. For your understanding, I will doing like this. Okay. Okay. This is how you can restrict the data. Now, what concept it is? We are trying to hide the data as well as functions. It's called information hiding. It's called information hiding. Next, we're going to see. Next, what you can see. We have seen the public members, private data members. The last one is protected data members. We're going to see. Protected data members, what is the rule? For protected data members, what is the rule actually?
It should have inheritance relationship.
It should have your, see, the child class should have an inheritance relationship to the parent. Then only you can able to access the parent class variables as well as functions. If you don't have inheritance relationship, you can't able to access the variables and functions from the parent class. Okay, now we're going to show the implementation. Make it mute. Okay, now we're going to show the implementation. I'm going to make it as new Python file. I'm going to make it as okay, protected data member for encapsulation. Okay, we can use the same thing. That's what we want to do. Okay, we use the same employee class, and then I can show. I can able to do the inheritance relationship. Okay, already know product data member. We can able to access subclass. Subclass means you can able to access child class, but you should have a inheritance relationship. Then only you can able to access your parent class properties, variables or functions, as well as you can set restriction as well. Okay, like if you make the variable as private, you can, outside class members cannot able to access your variables. These are things you can able to. Okay. What we can do now? What example you can take? Okay, we'll take this different example now. Parent class will keep us company. This is parent class actually, company, and then you're going to have one constructor. The constructor going to have the protected member. Going to have the protected member. Protected member means what you have to do? You have to use single underscore. Single underscore you have to use. I'm going to use self dot. This is my variable name. The variable I'm going to give project equal to, I'm going to mention as NLP, natural language processing. Okay. Private variable means you have to use two underscores. Private variable means you have to use a single underscore. That's the difference. Okay. You might have a question. You didn't pass any arguments, then why you are assigning underscore budget? Because it's, see, that is an argument. This is a variable actually. Okay, I am assigning one variable, instance dot variable. You can give any variable and then equal to NLP, and then I going to have this class are going to keep command as what class it is, base class. Command is base class, and then I going to keep another name as child class. Command as child class. Class I'm going to keep employee. Same thing I'm going to use employee, and then I'm going to do the inheritance relationship. What do I do? You want to apply the inheritance, what step you have to follow? I want to inherit a derived product from a parent class to my child class employee. What you have to do? Employee. You want to do the inheritance relationship, right? Employee of base class. This is our this is subclass, and then bracket you have to pass the base class. Okay, this is how you can able to inherit the properties from your parent class. And then I'm going to have one more constructor for my employee class. And then I'm going to have one more argument called a name argument. And then I'm going to have one public data member. Public data member, how you can use? You have to use double underscore or single underscore. Without underscore, you have to use for public data member. You should not use any without any underscores. Okay, and then you can pass variable name, and then you have to pass the argument. And then I want to see, though I inheriting the properties of my parent class, then I want to reuse my constructor as well. How to reuse this constructor in my child class? Can you say? Just assume that you don't know the parent class name, but I want to inherit my parent class constructor here. How to reuse my parent class constructor in my child class? What function will you use?
Super function.
Super function you use. You can use super function, and then you can use 1 minute. Don't put s in caps. Super function, and then you can call the init. If you know, see, if you know your parent class name, no need of super. If you know the parent class name, directly can use
Company.
company.init. Okay, if you know the parent class name, you can use like this. But if you don't know the your parent class name, directly can use super.init. It's going to refer your parent class, whichever you inherit, right? It's going to refer your parent class constructor. Okay, now what I going to do? I want to pass self. Okay, hold a minute. Why it's throwing like this? Yeah, I should not use this one constructor, right? Company.init, and then I will pass self, and then I'm going to have one more function. Function is called show. Self is the instance, and then I'm going to print employee name, and then I'm going to make some commands, and then I'm going to have the name self.name. Self.name is nothing but public member, right? That's why you're calling self.name directly. And then I'm going to access the protected data member. How to access protected data member? Can you see? How to access the writing here? Access the protected data member. Access the protected data member. How to access? Print, and then working on project, and then you can use comma self dot
Self underscore project.
underscore project, because this is how you have to access. Okay, underscore, yeah, you can call like this. And then now I want to call this show method. what you have to do. For which class you have to create an object. I want to call the show method. I want to call the show method. Okay. Yeah, employee, you have to create your object emp equal to employee, and then you have to call the constructor, right? It's
Yes.
going to call your employee constructor. Constructor, what you have to pass?
Name.
Name you have to pass. I passing your name, San. Okay, and then emp dot can call show. Show is a public method, a private method, a protected method. Show is a public method or private method or protected method.
Both
I'm
public and
asking
protected.
public and
Protected.
how you can say it's protected method. Show is a public method. Private method means you have to put two double underscore.
Okay.
Protected means you have to put
Only
how many underscores?
single underscore.
Single underscore you have to put. If it's a variable as well as for methods, you have to follow same rules. Okay. Those show method is a public method. Now, if I run the script, what will happen? It's going to print. It's going to print the employee name as well as working on project. Now, I want to ask another question to you. Okay, can I able to access? Can I able to hold a minute? Can I able to access my protected data members directly without creating any object? You have to say, can I able to access my protected data member without creating an object? Can I able to call directly?
No. No, it can't.
Think for a while and then answer. Direct access protected data members. Direct access protected data members. What I'm trying to say
Yeah,
is
we can access outside the class also.
you can able to access outside of class, and then the class should have a inheritance relationship. Okay, now what I'm trying to do here is I can able to do project without creating any object. See, I'm not using any instance here, comma. What I'm trying to do here is wait. Okay, what question I asked to you? Directly can able to access? No, directly can't able to access. Your answer is correct. I forgot the question, it seems. Okay, directly you can't able to access, and then now using instance you can able to access. Using instance you can able to access. Okay, emp dot underscore project. Let's run the script. It's printing as project as nlp. Okay, now two more scenarios we're going to see. What are the scenarios? We create a bundling of data, information ID, and protected data members, right? Okay, there is one more concept called mangling. We're going to discuss now mangling. What is mangling? Okay, the first question is new Python file. Okay, I'll create like encapsulation underscore one. Okay, okay, the file by file name like this. The first question to you: can we able to access private members using public methods? Can we able to? It's integration actually. Can we able to access the private members using public method? Using public method. Question to you. Think for a while and then answer. Can we able to access private members using public method? Now I'm going to show the implementation. Yeah, we can able to. The answer is yes. You can able to access your private members using public method. Answer is yes. Now I'm going to show the implementation. Um, how we can able to accessing the private member outside of class using an instance method. I'm going to show now how to access. What I'm going to do, I'm going to copy and paste. Bundling of data is there, right? Bundling of data. Just I'm going to copy and then paste it here in the encapsulation field. In the encapsulation field, you have the data members, that to your public data members, as well as you have the what function it is, public functions. Now my question is, can we able to access the private data member using the public method? Okay, now what I going to do, I going to make this variable as private. Tell is private. Okay, and then I have the show method. Yeah, self dot name, and then I have the salary as well. Okay, now what I going to do, I going to comment this thing, I going to remove this thing. My question is, though my show is a public function, see here, it's a public method actually. In the public method, what I'm trying to do here is, I'm trying to access the private variable salary. Private variable salary. If I run the script, whether you'll get the answer or not. Yeah, I will get the answer. By creating instant method, you can able to. By creating instance means for this class, I'm creating an instance, and then I can able to access the private member using public method. Now, I get the result as salary of 8,000. So, what is happening here? I can able to access the private variable inside the
Public.
public method. Show is public method. Inside public method, you can able to access a private variable. Okay, this is one of the entry question. If you go if you attend the entry in Python, they will ask this question: can you able to access private member in public method? Most of the people will say no. Private members cannot be able to access, but you can able to access. Okay, that too, that too, in the same class. What I said to you, private members can be able to access in the same class. That's what you can able to access. Private members can be able to access the same class. Outside the class, you can't be able to access private members. And then this is the first approach. Next approach is, I'm going to get one more py file. I'm going to talk about the mangling, name mangling. Okay, I'm going to keep like encapsulation underscore 2. I'll do one thing. Uh, py file name is encapsulation underscore 2. The concept is called mangling, name mangling. We're going to discuss now name mangling. Remember this name, it will be very powerful. Using name mangling, you can able to access a private data member. You can able to access a private data member using the name mangling. You can mention like this: using name mangling, you can able to access the private data members. It's called name mangling. Okay, we can't directly access private and pub product variables from outside of class through name mangling. First rule actually. The first rule I'm setting is okay, I made a mistake. We can directly access private and protected variables from outside of a class from outside of a class through through name mangling. Okay, see, this name mangling is created an identifier by adding the two leading underscores and one trailing underscores. Okay, that is called name mangling. Using the identifier, you can able to access your private and product variables from outside of class through name mangling. The name mangling will have syntax. I'm going to write a syntax now. This is a name mangling syntax. Name mangling syntax. You have to follow the syntax. You have to use fix underscore class name, and then trailing you have to use two underscores, and then you have to use a data member, and then this class name is going to refer your current class name, and data members is going to be a private data member, or it's kind of a product data member. Okay, this syntax you have to follow. If you want to access your private data member as well as product data member, you have to use a syntax outside of class, and then you can able to access your private data member as well as product data member. Okay, now I'm going to show an example for you. I'll do one thing. Okay, okay, I'll create one example. Class of employee, sorry, employee, and then I'm going to have one constructor, and then you have one mention the constructor in it. And then I'm going to have name salary, name salary. Okay, two parameters more than enough. More enough projects, and then I'm going to add the public data number. How to assign a public data number? Can you say for name? How to assign a public data number?
Yeah.
Hmm?
Self. Self dot
Self
name.
dot name. It's a
Name.
variable name actually, equal to argument. Argument is name again, and then can you help for private number? Salary.
Self dot underscore
Self dot
double underscore salary
double underscore salary. It's a
equal to
variable. It's a private data number, and then you can mention as argument as salary. Okay, that's it. And then now what I going to do, um, okay, using the name mangling. The concept is called name mangling. Keep it in mind. Two ways you can do. One is what you can do. You can able to access predator member using public method. Yeah, I said yes. And then second one is using name mangling. You can able to achieve. Now I going to create an object for this instance employee, and then call the constructor. In the constructor, they are going to pass your name, and then what about salary? Salary is 2 lakhs. Salary is going to be, don't give in the string. Salary is going to be 2 lakhs. It's tens, hundreds, thousand, and lakhs. Okay, and then maybe 20 lakhs. It's tens, hundred, thousand, 10,000 lakhs. Tens, hundreds. It's going to come like 20 lakhs. Now I want to access my name. It's a public data number. You already know how to access public data number. You can use emp dot name, and then I want to access my private member. Is it fine? Is it possible? I want to access my salary. Can I be able to access? It's not showing his salary here. Oh, it's not showing any salary. How to access my private data member? By using what concept it is?
angling.
Name mangling. Can you apply syntax over here? Can you apply syntax here? Dot apply syntax here.
Okay. Underscore class.
Underscore
Employee
underscore employee
double underscore
underscore data number. Who is the data number? Private data number.
salary.
Salary. You have to apply the same thing. Remove this two underscore. Okay, that's it. It's called name mangling. Okay, I'll do one thing for your understanding. I'll make a comma in the dimension salary. Okay, you have to follow this name mangling syntax. Keep in mind, this is an entry question actually. Name mangling. Okay, I'm going to run the script. It's printing. What's printing? Name as 20 lakhs. Okay, you can access your private data members as well as protected data members using name mangling. Can you say for product member? We'll make project. Now, can you say for protected data member? Protected data members. Self dot
Self dot underscore project.
underscore project equal to project. Okay. Now, how to access project? Hmm. Now, how to access project? I want to get this product member.
Okay. EMP dot
Yeah, EMP dot
same underscore employee
underscore employee
double underscore.
leading underscores. Sorry, trailing underscores.
Okay.
Leading, this one trailing. Okay, and then why are how
Pro-
many underscores you have to use? You have to use a double underscores. Okay, and
project.
then you have to use a project. Let's see it's working or not. I was a little bit confused. Okay, one more underscore, is that right? Yeah. Okay, okay, why it's okay, okay,
Missing
okay.
one
Project
before.
missing. Yeah, here consider you have to pass some value, right? Project name NLP. You have to pass. Okay, because we have mentioned three arguments, right? Don't consider self. Now, if you run this script, it's going to print the answer. Okay. Employee object is no attribute underscore. Okay, though it's going to be okay. I want to change the syntax a little bit. For product number, you have to use only single underscore. Let's check on this. For protected data number, you have to use single underscore. No, it's not working. Employee object has no attribute to employee project. Okay, 1 minute. So it's product, right? Employee object has no attribute underscore underscore project. Oh, it's not coming like this. Protected members, protected data members. Syntax is same. Protected data members. 1 minute.
This conference will now be recorded.
Now, if you run the script, it's getting employee object as no attribute employee underscore project. Okay. Now, if you are trying to access the protected variables data members, it's throwing like employee object is no attribute. Okay, what I will do, I will check for this for protected. Okay, next session we're going to see the getter setter. At the time I will discuss on this protected part. Okay, using name mangling. You can see using name mangling you can able to access the private data number. You can able to see the results, but protected as per syntax is not working. Okay, next session we're going to see the getters and setters. In the encapsulation we have one more topic called getter and setters. Okay, that's an important topic actually. At the time we'll discuss on this how to access the protected data member outside of the class by creating instance for the particular class, and then using name mangling how to retrieve the value. Okay, as of now I'm signing off the session right now.